around to watch all the moves. They're not hard to find. Strong arm tactics so loud, only themselves in mind. Every player has dreams of making Orca fame. They'll live on in the minds of those who get in their way. Orcas all say, don't come for me. Mid-nurse roots, they're so vain. As we set up the podcast webcam, the pod is here to talk Orca game. Orca King CK with delusions of fame. In this LRG world, he's the apex predator. Danny and Jules in tow, always ready to go. Now it's time for the show. They're the apex predators.
Hello and welcome to the Orca Pod, the Apex Predators of Australian Survivor LRG podcasting. Once again, my apologies go out to Josh O'Brien for not having added him to the intro. I know it must be eating you up inside at every moment that Mark continues to see himself there, not you, I'm sure. He tells you about it. I will get around to it. I'm a busy man and I will update it soon enough. Thank you for joining us for the Orca Pod, for the most anticipated episode of any of the episodes of our coverage in the recap or any season we do, the tea party with the most infamous and famous podcast host we have, Annabel. She'll join us in a moment, but before that, I need to make an announcement about the rest of the coverage. We have 2 weeks to go and the voting remains open. There's not a lot of votes. Of all the seasons we've done, I'd say the votes are very low. So get in and vote so you can have a say as to who will be the Orca, even though your say has minimal weighting and you already know who it's going to be. But there's other important votes. MVP, who you want to see again, who wins the Annabel Award. I think it should be Banfield. Get in the voting. Now, if you haven't voted, get in vote. Then next week, I've got the special episode for this season. Top 5 got a special ep. I'll be interviewing the 3 people that we have never interviewed on the Orca Pod that have played twice. We will have Emily, we will have Mitch, and we will have Rose, and it'll be great to get their insights as to what it's like to play a second time, noting the influence that had on this game with Mars' success and the game John was playing up to the point he was advantage getting. So tune in next week. Then after that, the awards, the crowning of the Orca, chat with Dan and Liv about the season. Before we get into after that, the number 1 season. And I think that's a perfect moment. We all know what number 1 is now, but everyone can do some simple maths. And as I said, don't at me. The people have spoken. And it's my pleasure to welcome my comrade in arms from that season, the best season of all of them. Annabel, welcome.
Oh my God, that intro video / song will never stop being iconic. I love it. What's the Annabel Award?
Best pre-merge boot.
Oh, yeah, okay, that makes total sense. Lovely, excited to be here. We have actually covered this season before. Love that for me. Obviously can't stop talking about LRGs. So I did not rewatch it. We've come with usual levels of my preparedness, but you have helped me with a few highlights. And if anyone in the chat would like to help out today by reminding us of some of the more memorable moments we need answers on, I'm ready for the drama.
In the chat, we have Schneider, who was with us when we covered this season originally.
The OG. And this, I mean, one of our guests we hopefully get on later tonight is the namesake of this podcast, famously the Orca Pod, named for the Orca himself. And I hope we do get a guest appearance.
I don't recall what we were calling ourselves for the first 3 episodes, but from about episode 4 on, in tribute to his amazing confessionals, we were calling ourselves the Orca Pod. So let's hope he is on later. Before I jump out, how do you feel, first time I got you live, that our season is officially announced as the best season that was available at the time of voting, of course?
I was going to say, are the voters feeling okay? Because, like, surely there were better seasons.
I've been rewatching it. It's pretty elite. And that's just because I love watching myself. It's just elite across the board. The characters are top tier. Top tier.
Okay,
You,
I mean, obviously.
me, other people, top tier.
There were, I'm sure, other people there who were fine.
Morel,
but okay, maybe
Caitlin, Kate.
Maybe the other
Brady.
seasons I'm thinking of haven't come out yet. Because haven't I done this and I was like, oh no, that was a genuinely actually good season. What about that backyard one I liked?
4.
I don't know. It
Yeah, that
had
came
like
third.
Josh. It had Josh on it.
Yeah,
The
it
one
came
with
third.
Mark on
It
it.
came third. Yes, no,
Oh,
Mark's
okay.
a different season. Mark's one is ineligible. Josh's season came third. Okay, anyway, without further ado, we won.
All
We're
right.
the best. We're getting into that coverage in a few weeks. Looking forward to that very much. But I will jump out and I'll let you introduce your wonderful guests to the elite event that is the team.
So we have got some absolutely fabulous Orca contenders for you here tonight. An absolute queen, okay? She was there, she was slaying, she was super idling, and she was huffing those ciggies off screen. Let's welcome her in, Mel!
Hey, Annabel. Good to be here.
We're so happy to have you. And then, just to make things extra confusing, who am I talking about when I'm asking these questions? We have him. He's the sexiest Santa to ever play an Australian org. We've got Mal.
Good evening, Annabel. Good evening, Mel. How are you doing?
Hey, Mel.
The sexiest Santa, am I?
Yeah, like Santa, but
I'll take it. I'll take it.
Yeah, you need to put that on your little bio down the bottom.
I wouldn't even know how to change it.
Welcome back, team. I remember vaguely covering your season in real time. I think I enjoyed it. Like, there was some good confettis. It popped. That was great. How are we feeling about the season all these years later? Mel?
Oh, goodness. It's like, what, over 3 years, I think? Yeah, I don't know. I kind of, I've forgotten half the stuff that's happened and I haven't rewatched it for a very long time. But no, it's good. Like, it's introduction to this fab community, and we've been a part of pretty much every LRG season since. So it certainly changed my life, that's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, you're kind of a permanent fixture on the LRG circuit now, Mel.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's become a full-time job. Mal, You've since gone on to start Malviva. So how has this experience kind of shaped what you've gone on to do?
Oh, look, I'd say, I think it was it's a bit over 3 years ago that we played. It feels like an eternity ago now. I haven't been to as many LRGs as Mel, but I've been very heavily involved, particularly in Canberra. And so that makes our season seem so long ago. In terms of me, I think the biggest thing, I was running games before we played, but I think that opened up the eyes to making bigger and better challenges, more creative ideas coming through. And in terms of Annabel, you're not quite my age, and Mel's not either. But when you're an older male, you just don't meet new people. So the community that has opened up across the board and around the country now is astonishing. It's really, really cool.
Yeah, I love that. People making friends. I think it is a beautiful community. Okay, so let's kind of get into the season. Refresh my memory. I remember the Orange Tribe being a bit of a hot mess.
Yeah, that's Hot Mess Express right here.
Yes. Okay, so we had the titular Orca, who we'll have later.
Yeah.
We also had another pretty central character, Anna. Now, I remember people loved Anna. They're like, Queen Anna. I'm like, a bit of a snooze fest if you ask me, but fine.
Yeah. I'm
Mel,
on that board.
you could not get Anna's name right.
No, I actually knew by, I think, halfway through, or maybe, I can't remember. Anyway, at some point I knew what her name was, but out of spite, I just kept calling her Amy because it was fun.
Love that. remind me, Mel, because again, it's been 3 years.
Yep.
Who were
Yeah.
you working with there? What was the vibe? I remember it was messy, but describe to
Who was I
me
working with or who I was
Yeah,
working with?
it was very messy, and a lot of like the very early alliances for me wasn't shown, and I understand why. And that was because obviously I had to survive two tribals with phantom votes. So a lot of my early relationships were I was really tight with John straight away, and also with Haley, and so I knew going in after getting the super idol, and I knew that I was going to get like 3 votes. I knew I just wasn't going to tell anyone. But the moment that I didn't tell Haley, she started to drift away. And then, of course, when she realized that I got extra votes, she straight away knew, being savvy, that like it would have been a strong advantage. And so that's when she sort of started to gravitate away from me and over to Anna. So probably in the first couple of rounds, I was closest to John and Haley. And when Haley transitioned away from me, I started to form a stronger relationship with James, but then quickly worked out that he was protecting Anna. So I was kind of like, well, I'm not going with Joseph. I had other limited options. I was trying to keep Simon around for a little bit longer, but he just wasn't someone worthwhile saving because he just had too many targets on his back. So that's kind of where I was at early in the game. And then when we got to the end of day one, James was really keen to try and work more with me, but that by then I was already bitten too much by him, and I knew going into merge that I'd be loyal to John and that I would jump ship. And the funny thing was, I actually wanted to work with Malcolm, and Malcolm and I have had this conversation quite a bit. So come merge, I really wanted to work with Malcolm. But the very first thing Malcolm said to me on after merge was that he wants to work with the oranges, but that he'd already given his advantage to Anna. And I was like, that's my rival. So I'm sorry, Mal, you have to go. So it was the most short-lived alliance ever.
Was it, Mel, was it the allure of his sensual centerbeard?
I just reckon I recognized his name from online. I'd never met him or anything, but like I remember conversations that had been had, and I think I knew we'd have similar kind of strategies, or that we would be able to talk game together, and that was something that I was kind of lacking, with the exception of John. So, yeah.
Anna's power, all these men jumping to defend her. I mean, also like Zaddy Simon. I'm sure you would have loved to have worked with him, but no offense, Mel, you were probably a little out of the age bracket of the women he was prepared to spend time with.
Yes, exactly. I wasn't a young. What did he call them? Young girl, old guy. That's it. Yeah.
Oh,
Gross.
yeah, love that. Meanwhile, over on your slightly less hot mess tribe, Mal, you're like going all in on your relationship with Ma, but Ma is obsessed with you and not in a good way.
Yeah, look, we know that how well Ma played, but I had no idea where Ma's desire to see me out in the earlier stage of the game. And while we were playing day one, I genuinely thought I was sitting there working alongside Sophie, Nick, and Ma as a 4. Not quite accurate. Look, I was definitely Sophie was closest with Nick, but I was close with Sophie, and I think that carried a lot. And I worked well with Nick for a lot of the game. I got along with Ma fine to the point where I actually thought I was working with her as well, but it wasn't to be.
I know, so unfortunate, Mal. I mean, Malcolm. I really need to do Malcolm because otherwise this is just going to get too confusing for everyone. Yeah, and I'm British Australian, Nathan, from Britain, grew up in Australia, controlling mother. So Malcolm, talk to me about those dynamics. Obviously, Nick and Ma, they end up falling in love, getting married. At the time, he's super loyal. She's super like, get out the way, I'm winning. Do you think you should have tried to initiate a showmance? Could that have got you further?
With who?
I guess Sophie at this point.
I'm not sure how that would have gone down with my wife, Annabel.
We need
No,
here now.
I did not consider a showmance at all. I guess I was just working on the idea of like, be social, be friendly, get through the early rounds, and then worry more about the direction I want things to move later on if I've got options with different people. But by the end of day one, like when I went to bed that night, it was actually over the night, I just realised this group are not taking me to the end. And so in my mind, I was totally ready and willing to work with the Oranges the next day. But yes, obviously, because I'd been to Ultimate Sacrifice with Anna, so that was the first Orange I really made a connection with. And so by the time Mel and I were chatting around, I'd ruined that one, and it wasn't to work.
Yeah. So remind me what happened next. So we get to the merge. John is advantage getting.
Yeah.
Where did it go wrong for the Malcolm? Yeah, we really missed a Mal sensual showmance. Your wife really cooked that one, Malcolm. Anyway, so sorry. John's getting advantage get end. You have kind of burnt a bridge with Mel by giving her arch nemesis an advantage. But why couldn't you work with Anna and Co at that point? Because I've totally forgotten.
No, just a lack of numbers. At that point, I didn't realise that Mel and I just couldn't work together at all. Like, I don't think that we were like on opposing sides or anything at that point. It was more a case, I think, of because I looked at it and went like, okay, out of these people, I've built the quickest relationship with Anna. And I totally misread. I just looked at the logic that these 4 people are coming in, they're down in the numbers, they'll be ready for somebody to jump and they'll take that option. I had no idea of just how dysfunctional that group of 4 people were when they came in.
We were worse than the Fang tribe from Gabon. Come on, like, give us.
I don't remember much, but I remember you hated each other.
Yeah, we did. By day 2, yeah.
Yeah, and so it was never going to work. Had I not have, well, this is going to hypotheticals, but if I don't make that instant connection with Anna, who knows then, because I did try to work with John and James as well, and it could have been a different thing, but it was too late. I'd misread it and stuffed that up.
I actually think, Malcolm, if you didn't approach Anna and you had have approached John, myself and James, things could have been different because we were all fed up with Anna by that point.
Yep, I can see that, definitely. So in terms of going through there, I mean, we were going to try a plan. I can't remember what the plan was, but there was an idea of we flushing Mel's super idol and still trying to take one of the others out at the merge vote. And I was okay with that. But Anna and I had gone to Sacrifice. By the time I came back, before we left, I just said, look, tell me the name I've got to vote in this plan that we're doing. I came back and suddenly they were all really evasive in giving me a name. And I've just gone like, fuck, I'm the name. And as we were walking to Tribal, then Sophie came up and confirmed it to me. She goes, Mal, you need to take your advantage. And I'm sitting there going like, oh, shit, I've given it to Anna to hold on to as a sign of trust that I'm actually prepared to go over. So then I needed to go to Anna and work my way to get that advantage back, which she gave back, so I was able to play it. Otherwise, I would have been the merge boot, 100%.
But Malcolm, was that the round where you walked in on, I think it was Ma, Michael, myself, I can't remember who else was there, and Ma actually said your name, and then you approached and said, did you just say Mel? And she said, oh, no, I said Mel. And you were like looking at me, I was looking at you. So we had the whole Mel problem on the day as well, Annabel.
Yep. And I think another time I walked up, I just did not clue in on Mars selling me under the bus, not wanting me there, because later on she also said something. It was Joe and Ma talking, and then I'm getting these winks from Ma, as in like I'm lying to Joe, and she's probably winking to Joe on the other side. I'm lying to Mel. It just wasn't working. But for John, it was just tough luck because Mel had the super idol, Anna had an idol, James had won immunity. I walked away, so he couldn't do anything really. He tried from what I heard.
Yeah, he was the only one that didn't go to Sacrifice Zone out of the whole cast.
Was it Joe as well, I think?
Oh, did she? Oh, yeah, actually. Yeah, that's true.
And they, John, I believe, was dirty about that.
He still is.
Because they reset Sacrifice after the merge. So I got to go to Sacrifice twice. I went once with James after the Saturday night, so just before merge, and then I went with Anna on the Sunday morning. and John was sitting from the sidelines watching anything. Where if he'd have gone, he could have had the safety without power. Everyone at Winu would have been safe.
Yeah, that would have been a game changer.
Itch, please. You've won once already. It's fine. You can handle it.
Spot on.
Grow up. So, okay, talk to me about the Super Idol, Mel, because it becomes important to advantage Geddon. But, like, correct me if I'm wrong here, because I'm just making stuff up. Advantage Geddon is really motivated by a desire to flush your Super Idol.
Yeah,
the Super
definitely.
Idol has alienated you from Hayley, who was one of your closest alliance members at the start. Was the Super Idol such a good thing after all?
I think it was, because to this day, I generally don't know, had I not had that Super Idol, whether things might have been different on day one. And like, we've had a few conversations obviously in our group chats, and majority of it was no, but you just don't 100%, you never 100%. Like, if that was out there before we had our relationships, then things could have been different. But yeah, like, at the end of the day, once everyone knew, I mean, I deliberately made sure people knew I had it in the end, because I actually think that's part of the power of the Super Idol. But come day 2, I knew that I would have to, probably that it would probably be flush. But by that point, it had done its job. Like, I'd survived to day 2. I'd made merch. That was that bucket ticked. And at that point, I know James had actually a really good strategy about Anna playing her idol on me, which would have allowed the 4 Winu to reserve the Super Idol for the next round, which would have been great. But the problem was James had screwed us all over by then, and none of us wanted to work with him. And of course, it's Anna and I. So, like, that wasn't going to happen. In theory, it's a really great strategy. But we were just too messed up for that to have worked. So,
hey, can we also throw out that the moment that Mel got that Super Idol, Mel became iconic.
It's so true. I mean,
regardless of what happened in the game, like, Mel is an iconic figure in the Survivor community from the moment that she had that Super Idol. The bloody thing was the size of a house. Like, so.
I will say, I remember to this day the crew specifically coming in and swapping confessionals, because they were all hyped up that, like, I was still in the game, still in with the Super Idol. I was trashing out Anna in my confessionals. And so I just remember that a lot of them were, like, hanging around for my confessionals because they wanted to get all the hot goss.
It's impressive you survived 2 rounds with phantom votes.
Yeah, I got 6 votes. And, like, I don't know, like, go back and look at the strategy. I know predominantly I was still, in my mind, wasn't quite sure how to deal with it. But the moment that John miscalculated the votes and said 10 votes rather than 11, I was like, that works for me, because I don't want them to know it's 3 so that they can pile on. So I just continued with that little lie. But I was nervous about the second round. Like, I was really confident in the first round that I wasn't going. Like, I had the relationships and I was fine. The second round, because of the lie and because of Hayley showing her movement, I was like, oh, this could be a bit. How's it going?
So what happened at that second vote?
So at the second vote, I had gotten 3 phantom votes in the first vote, and then Anna also voted for me, because I think she probably picked up on my vibe, because in the first round, everyone was kind of keen on Sam, and by then I still hadn't, like, gotten everyone's names quite right, because we're like 30 minutes into the game or whatever. And actually, it was Anna from the start that I got bad vibes from. So I was like, oh, the girl with the hat and the long hair. And James was like, no, the other girl with the long hair that doesn't talk to anyone. And so I would have preferred it to be an Anna vote, not knowing that James and her had already, dated before the bloody game. But anyway, yeah, exactly. So I think maybe she picked up on like some bad juju for me, and that's why she dropped the random Mel vote in the first round. So that's what made me nervous in the second, because I still wasn't clear on who it was that did that vote.
Okay.
And that ended up being Joseph, I think, right? So Joseph went So I think I only got. I'm trying to remember. No, so Anna had to do her first public vote. That's right. So Anna had gone to sacrifice. She had to vote publicly before we all went to vote. So I knew Anna had voted for me before that, but I just stuck to the plan. We've all solidly voted Joseph, and Joseph went in. It would have been what? 6-4, 1 vote.
Well, can we just point out here, we're voting out Joseph over Haley, who literally can't walk.
Yeah. But by that stage, it had literally, because she did that in the tug of war, the very first challenge, right? And I think that part of the problem was that our camp, we actually had quite a steep hill. And so because we'd lost, we'd walk there. We had to go back and up and down for challenges. And then we actually won that second one. So it was the first time that we sat down and Haley took a shoe off. And I think that's what happened. So she took a shoe off, and that's when I think it swole. And so then by the time we got to the third round, and that was the challenge. So in the third round, we had a challenge where Joseph refused to do any other option in the challenge except catch, but he wasn't fucking catching anything, and nor would he run up to get the bloody sandbags, which meant Haley had to do it. So I think at that point, that's when Haley's ankle went rogue. And so it was pretty much right before the vote that it was very obvious that she was hurt, but we were like, oh, she put some ice in it. I'm not getting rid of her at this point when there's other numpties that can go before her.
Joseph with 2 legs still somehow managed to do more damage.
Yeah,
in the challenge.
100%. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So meanwhile, speaking of numpties, he's disappeared from the face of the earth. It's Banfield b. Banfield. And Matt.
Banfield, I believe it is.
Yeah, you were at the center of some controversy there. I have it on good account that maybe there was a little bit of slander towards Banfield in his name that we didn't get to witness. So would you like to talk us through the Banfield of it all?
Well, as I do, I believe that James has just sent a message saying he's in the waiting room. So
okay. Pausing on that thought.
Okay, let's add him.
The titular Orca, the one who started it all. It's James Woof.
Hello, it's good to be here, and just as Malcolm and I can finally talking more shit about Banfield allegedly. Just in perfect timing.
We can't see you. It's the classic Geelong internet once again. There we are.
There he is, Timothy.
Hello.
There you go, James.
I heard Banfield's name, and I thought, you know what, Malcolm's here, I'm here. Let's just continue.
Let's throw down.
Allegedly.
There's nothing this cast enjoyed more than cyberbullying Banfield, sometimes in-person bullying. So let's continue where we left off. Yeah, let's continue.
We basically went into... Oh, sorry. Yeah, we went into Ultimate Sacrifice, and James and I sat down, and pretty much I just started off by just going, James, it doesn't matter what you say. I'm going to go back to camp and say that you shit talked Banfield. And James said...
It's true.
No, look, honestly, 100%. I can't remember which challenge. It could have been as early as the Noughts and Crosses, I think, was when James said something about Hi Blake or something. Yeah. We'd been back at camp and Banfield had told us his name is Banfield. Like, who are we to make any different claim on that? But after James said Blake, it was just like, what's the story here? Like, so we commented and Banfield just doubled down. It's like, my name's Banfield, it's Banfield. There was something in there about like, I went to school with 5 or 6 Blakes or something like this or whatever. And like, honestly, he just made him look really sus. And being that I know I had been, and I'm sure some others were as well, sowing seeds of like, let's put Banfield in the pecking order to get out before at least me. And so James definitely did call him Blake at the challenge. But at Sacrifice, honestly, I do not even recall us talking about Banfield. Like, we went down. We talked about some ideas for the next day. Where we were seeing on the tribes. At that time, I was still a little bit hesitant on, am I prepared to work with James or am I not prepared to work with James? So I was holding back some info. But, I mean, James might remember something differently, but I honestly don't even remember talking about Blanfield.
Yeah,
James,
no, he definitely was not. He was not a topic of conversation.
But how could he not? When you have a man called Blake Banfield in the game, how could you talk about anything else, James?
Yeah, look, I mean, I think where I was at in the game, I had, believe it or not, there were other things on my priority list that came before the importance of his existence in the game. So, and one of them was just, you know, an opportunity to be able to obviously meet Mel and have a chat with him. And and obviously because we had a bit of a time to have a chat during that challenge when he was sitting out and I was, you know, ejected from the challenge per se from another member of the cast. But yeah, I think it just all stemmed from there. And for me, it was just that this whole time was just purely strategy based in terms of moving forward and looking on to the next day.
Yeah, okay.
I was pretty confident with where I was at in my tribe as well. So I was like, yeah, kind of wanted to focus moving forward.
So James had other things on his mind, but Sexy Santa Mal, for some reason, his maybe potential name saga was a bigger deal. Was it purely just that you were looking for any reason to get rid of him? Why was a man insisting on going by his surname such a red flag to you?
Yeah, no, look, at the beginning of the day, I mean, Grace was an easy vote for us. Like, she just ostracized herself right at the beginning. After that, I was just looking at the idea of, like, who can I put up ahead of me? And at that point, because I felt like, as I said a million times on day one, that I was with Sophie, Nick and Ma, there wasn't a spot for Banfield. And so really early on, I just started like sowing. I think I remember talking about like, he seems really nervous at the moment, but once he gets past it, it'll be a dangerous player. I was just saying all these sorts of things. And then the Blake bit from after the challenge, Banfield really just watered his own garden there. And after that, it was an easy way to go. Unfortunately, by the time we got to the end of the day, I had built a better relationship with Banfield and was like, I wouldn't mind him staying, but it was too late. It was done and dusted. So I don't even think anybody else was genuinely on the table, even as much as Ma was throwing my name out at times. I think it was just really easy, Grace and Banfield early on. There's just nothing more to it than that, really.
It was, I think, up until kind of late mid-game, truly a season of cracked people being cracked. And no one was more cracked than you, James. One of the few things that have stuck with me over the past 3 years is how amazing you were in confessionals, the drama that you were stirring up. So when you had gone into the game, was it your vision to be like the personality? If we can't win, at least be the main character.
Oh, you know, I mean, if I told you I came into it wanting a podcast named after, you know, my, after my sort of nickname, you know, would have been a dream come true. That would be a bit of a fear if I said that was the end goal. But no, I think end of the day, I just kind of wanted to go in there and just have a lot of fun, and you know, and really give a fuck what people think of the character I'm projecting, you know, or the gameplay I'm, you know, displaying. I kind of just wanted to go in there and, you know, have a good time for myself. Of course, I wanted to win because I'm an extremely competitive person, but at the same time, I don't know. I didn't really think of the aftermath of you know, what could occur.
Yeah, so you've had a bit of a love-hate relationship with being the apex predator of the season. Where do you kind of stand in your relationship with the season now?
Yeah, I think you know, when I first played, I was 22. You know, I'm 26 now, so I feel like for myself that, you know, there definitely have been some changes in who I am as a person, and I think that just comes from a natural sort of maturity as you sort of get a bit older. So I don't regret in terms of how I played the game. I don't regret how I came across at all. Obviously, if there were some people that took it the wrong way, then so be. I never wanted to come across maliciously. But I think if I ever did get a chance to play again, I think that there is a different side of me that I think people would be able to see.
Well, honestly, you were the MVP of the season entertainment-wise, James. So if you come back, 26-year-old James better be just as crazy, but in a different way, frankly, or I'll be disappointed. It was iconic. So I don't actually remember. So I don't remember how any of you ended up going out. Mal, sexy Santa
Yes.
Mal, let's start with you. I'm
I did
assuming
go first out of the three of us.
great. I'm
The biggest
assuming
loser, so to speak.
the spearheading was by your bestie Ma, who, lived rent-free in her head. Remind me how all that went down.
Yeah, so that was in the round that ended up being a double. So there was myself and then Joe. So in that round, I was trying to get Mel and Anna and Nick and Sophie with myself to go after Joe. And obviously, as you'd expect, there was a whole lot of chats, a whole lot of different people, etc. As that round went on, I thought, I definitely don't have Mel voting with me on this vote. I didn't know if I had Anna or not. And to be honest, I wasn't even sure at that time if I had Sophie or Nick. Like, I wasn't convinced one way or the other. So I thought I was a bit of a sitting duck going into that tribal council. And then when we got in there, Ma played her steal a vote just before we were going to vote. And the moment that she stole Anna's vote, I just went, I am 100% totally fucked, because if I've got anybody with me, then I might have Anna with me. And if I've got Anna, Nick, Sophie, myself, then at least there's four of us. Maybe it's a 4-4. Still might come down to me. But I then just went, well, that's screwed. So I didn't steal. I just cancelled Mel's vote, as you can see by that reaction. And I didn't say anything publicly, but I was sort of thinking in terms of, like, if I cancelled Mel's, then maybe some of the others might jump onto voting Mel. Obviously, that didn't happen. And I think in the end, it was 4 votes to me, 2 votes to Joe, and I threw the one on to Mel there in hope that the others would jump across. And I was history. That was it.
Did you know then that Ma was not, she was going to be voting for you?
By the time we were going to tribal council, I was pretty sure that, yeah, I was the target.
Okay, spicy. All right. So
Yes.
then remind me what happens next, because I feel like Anna turns on you, James. Did I imagine that? I feel like you were so good to her. You had her back this whole game. Mel's like, get this Amy sack of nothing out of here. And you're like, no, Anna's good. We've got Anna. And then she totally stabs you in the back. Is that fan fiction, or am I remembering correctly?
Yeah, I think when we look and go into the merge, I felt like being in a minority to begin with, I felt like I was probably someone who was going to be told of the hit list when you look at, especially when you watch like LRGs and you see so many times people just go down the line with, like, a belonging per se. So I definitely felt like that. It was probably, I was probably coming at the top of the list for Bella Tribe to target. And I think in terms of, like, with my relationship with Anna, how that kind of fit in, I think with where I felt like where it was and how she kind of felt like I was talking to her, I don't feel like necessarily aligned, because I don't feel like I don't think I spoke to her poorly or in a way that was looking down on her in that
You just didn't do what she wanted you to do, James. That was the problem.
Correct. Yeah, correct.
Rude.
But at the end of the day, though, I think I was at a position in the game where I kind of feel like, okay, I need sort of a few things to go my way and how it's going to get there. And then, I don't think she just didn't like how that was necessarily portrayed.
Very
Can we just
diplomatic.
give a shout out to James here. James pulled off one of those iconic Survivor moments. He was 100% going to be the merge boot. Like,
Yeah.
we had just decided James is going. Like, and then he pulled out the immunity win, and you're in two minds. The Survivor fan in me is like, how cool is this? The person that was 100% going home is the person that's won. And then the other part, as in my place in the game, is going, oh, bugger, like this is a real mess now. And then he pulled that out, and then he fought for his life in the round that he went. So his little sock idol that he managed to pull out, he was doing that. He was working the crowd amazingly. James did not give up.
No one believed that sock idol, Malcolm. Come on. No one believed the sock idol.
Yeah, I think one thing I will say is that I think while I was quite self-interested in how I was playing, I think a lot of things that I pitched to people were also in the benefit of other people if they were actually willing to listen. And that includes, Malcolm, and probably includes, the other two people in the cast in this panel as well. But at the same time, I can also understand as to why maybe people didn't go along with what I said, because I was probably coming across as quite strongly because Malcolm picked up on, I was really kind of wanted to stay in the game and explore all avenues.
You were Orca point number 1, strong arming strategy, and you know what? We love that. Mel, you said earlier while James was still at dinner that you potentially maybe could have worked with James at Merge, but by that stage, he'd burnt you one too many times. Talk us through those burns so that James has right of reply.
So I think James knows this because we've talked about it so many times, but so when we broke on day 1, a bunch of them went to fucking McDonald's, which I was like mortified by because that's not Survivor. And so I stayed back. I wasn't interested in going to McDonald's whatsoever. And the fact that everyone from my tribe, John, Amy and James, were all going to go to McDonald's, I saw as a golden opportunity. So I spent a lot of time actually with Malcolm and Nick. And Keegan was there because that was just fun entertainment. But I remember spending a lot of time with those two in the game. But it was really clear up front, first thing in the morning, like with Malcolm talking about giving Amy her advantage. And then when Nick was really uncomfortable because I think he perceived people seeing him and James as having something, and at that point James and I had I think he thought I was with James, so Nick also didn't want to bar with me. So all the work that I did the night before, I was like, oh, could have just bloody slept, so whatever. But but yeah, I forgot your question. I've had too much soju, sorry.
No, all good. I want to know all the ways that James burnt you, so you felt like you couldn't work with him. Yeah.
So I don't. Apart from the fact that like it was clear after, as I said earlier, like once I knew Hayley had left me, and I knew why. I knew that she stopped aligning herself with me because I didn't share the news of the Super Idol. I spotted Hayley as someone who was going to be like quite strategic, and me and John were really, really close. But the moment that she knew I had an advantage and that I didn't share it with her was the moment that she went towards Amy. So I'm going to keep calling her Amy. So when that happened, I naturally wanted to talk to James more, but it took me probably another round or so before I clued in on the fact that James was too close to Amy. So at that point, all I had left was Amy, Hayley, James, and John. So I just made sure that like I kept John really, really close. And I had the feeling like John wasn't going to stay We Knew Strong come merge, which had he have not gone in the advantage get-in, I think he would have worked more within Orange. I don't necessarily know whether that would have made my place worse, probably because of his relationship with Ma. But at the end of the day, like, I was 6. Like, what does that mean? I'm 7? Who's 7? I don't even know who went out at 7.
So
Whatever.
what I'm hearing is that Anna Amy, once again, is the problem here.
Yeah.
Like, she's the humpback whale stealing the seal out of the orca's mouth.
Yeah.
Who was so much closer to these alliances. So, James, in my mind, you go out before Mel. How does that end up catalyzing? Is that because the gaslighting simp king himself has at this point gone on his immunity run?
I think the bit that Mel kind of left out was the fact that when we voted out Simon instead of Haley is when she felt like there was
that's true.
Lack of trust there that I didn't tell her. When a lot of that, I didn't trust Haley at all, and I didn't want to work with Haley. But John was so adamant on voting out Simon rather than Haley, and then I didn't necessarily get a chance to talk to Mel and about it to try at least kind of force some sort of tie to get what I wanted, which was Haley going at that point. Mel, I feel like based on conversations that we've had previous out of this, felt a bit that was contributed to the reason why she felt a bit burnt. And you know what? Yeah, I can definitely understand that for sure. But I think at the same time, I feel I should have invested more time with Mel than what I should have been just mansplaining to Anna.
You were too busy being an icon, okay? They needed to jump on the Woofy train or get out of there. So when you go out, is that because you can no longer win immunity? The target is too big. Is that what ended up happening there?
Yeah.
I think it was just one of those ones where, because it ran before, like even when I had one, I was just trying to make things happen where when I didn't have the protection, people were probably then a bit spooked, especially when there was a lot of there wasn't a lot of like not dynamism within some of the motives of other people that were there, and that's absolutely fine as well. Everyone wants to play how they want to play, but I think the reason why I go out is because probably people saw me as a bit too unpredictable, or at least unpredictable in terms of like that putting trust in me.
You were really doubling down on their pagonging at that stage. So, Mel, you are at this point, well, along with Amy, but I think you outlast Amy, don't you?
No, I went the round before her, which is like, heartbreaking, but whatever. And I take that as a good sign because I figure they get rid of the stronger one first, right? That's the way I look at it. So, yeah. And actually, I think what happened too was that I probably tried. I had in my head that I wanted to actually work with Michael, although, like, I know now that probably wouldn't have happened, that he wouldn't have strayed from Ma. But my two options really, because I knew, and I think there's like a confessional part of the episode when I go that I'm probably one of the first people that in the season that says Ma's running the game. And so I had recognized that and I wanted to get her out. But the problem was she was too insulated. And so I had to be super careful in the conversations that I had. And I had wanted to talk to Michael because we'd gone to Sacrifice Zone together. But the double elimination completely screwed me over because I had a kind of plan in my head. But when the double happened, it just meant I was one voting round behind. And so I ended up concentrating more on Nick, thinking that I could throw Michael and Ma under the bus because they'd basically been saying Nick's name since the start of day 2. But like obviously we didn't realize that Nick was already in love with Ma and that was never going to happen. So yeah.
Nick's in love with Ma. Sophie's in love with Nick. Is this around when Nick votes for Sophie, gaslights her about it, and then she gets a confession saying she's still supporting him?
No, so that was the
9.
James' vote.
Yeah, that was when I voted out.
Yeah, so when James votes out, that's when Nick votes for Sophie, and Sophie. Oh, and someone else votes for Joe. And the two of them, I just remember laughing so hard that round because those two lost their shit. And then by that stage, I'm already at like 15 votes, bitches. Like, calm the fuck down, because they got one vote each. So I just remember like that being super hilarious. And I think there's an iconic confessional about that as well from me, just going like, calm your farm girls. But yeah, so I was going in on Nick, and I knew it would probably cost me, and it did, because I was pushing the fact that Michael and Ma had been saying his name for a very, very long time, and that he was just very lucky that when it came to that bloody double elimination, that he got to keep the necklace the next round. So when Joe went, if Nick hadn't have been eligible to keep that necklace for the second vote, Nick would have been gone.
Okay.
So, but because he got to keep the necklace, which is so fucking unfair. Like, that was the worst call ever. That was the worst call of the season. Sorry, Dan, love you, but shit decision. Nick would have gone. Nick would have absolutely gone. And I think that may have, like, as much as I didn't want to work with Amy at that point, I didn't have any option. I think that would have potentially changed some things.
I mean, unfortunately, Ma still has like 6 more allies who are all obsessed with her at that point. So it might have got you an extra round. But
yeah. Anyway,
what could have been, team? All right. We all know that I like a prompt bedtime. So let's start getting towards some of our really necessary bits here. So as you, I'm sure, are acutely aware, there is an awards show for each season with, MVP, best pre-merge boot. But the most important award of all, and it is very important, it's very prestigious, it is the Orca Award for the Orca of the season. And I would like to remind everyone what the 3 key criteria for Orca of the season are, because I would like to give you all the opportunity to pitch who you think the people should be voting for here. Now, just because this is named after James's confessional, it doesn't mean he's a shoo-in. So let me give you, it can all come down to the pitch. Let me give the 3 criteria. And again, this is a blessing. I myself am very upset I might be losing this to CK. So consider this. Remember to vote for me. Screw CK. 3 key criteria. Number 1, we've mentioned it already, strong arming strategy. The Orca knows what's best, okay? They know what everyone should be doing, and they're letting them know it. Number 2, propensity for narcissism. In order to meet this criteria, you have to have at least one confessional where you talk about how you're running the game and you're in control. And number 3, loud and proud. So this means you have to have rubbed someone the wrong way and pissed them off within the first 2 episodes. So these are our 3 key criteria: strong arming strategy, propensity for narcissism, loud and proud. And I'll start with you, James, because I know in the past you haven't wanted to claim this title that some would say you were born for with this season. So either would you like to try and claim this title, or would you like to nominate somebody else and pitch for them?
Yeah, look, I mean, sometimes you just got to embrace the criteria that's thrown out there. And hey, I don't make the criteria. I just sing it. You just have to sing it loud and proud sometimes, unawarely, that down the future it's going to, come back and find you. Yeah, do I want to pass the mantle for someone else? Look, let's be real. Is there anyone else in the whole LRG franchise that's even worthy of this? I mean, I don't think so. So I think there is only one true answer to who this could go to, and that person is Malcolm.
All right, sexy Santa. You are the Orca. You are the apex predator. Let's hear your pitch.
Mate, I should be on nobody's voting parchment for the Orca of the season. I'm just thinking, James, was Sam around for long enough to get the award?
Look, she probably wasn't really interactive enough to.
She didn't want water, Malcolm. She's not a contender.
Let's be serious. There is no like, there are quality people on our cast, and there are some big characters. But when you talk about those three criteria, James walks those three criteria in, and like he should win this one by an absolute landslide.
Playing the villain is fun. Like, yeah, I mean, being
I
heroes.
believe it's actually now officially the Bromelo medal for the Orca of the season, after Ethan Bromelo was officially the first person to receive the award. So it's got two namesakes now, the Bromelo medal for the Orca. All right, I do think you've probably got that one in the bag. Sorry, Woof, whether you like it or not. But you will get to be a part of our prestigious panel of orcas who get to vote for the future orcas of the future seasons. It's as I said, an elite group of people. Mel, what was a moment that we might have forgotten about, that we haven't covered, that was iconic, and you just want to remind everybody that this happened? This was on YouTube. In this cracked world of LRGs and the complete nut jobs who played them, lest we forget, we were all blessed with this moment.
Okay, probably one of my favorite moments. It's not like, I reckon actually it's kind of iconic, is the one and only time that the Winu won a challenge, and we had to sit on the mat for 20 minutes listening to Joseph talk for 20 minutes flat. No one else got a fucking word in. And we heard about his life from the time he was 5 to 20. And outside of that, the only other thing that we heard was that Haley was a belt salesman and that she was annoyed that people were talking about books.
Wow, that's beautiful. And it's giving loud and proud.
Exactly.
Love that. All right, what about you, Malcolm?
Look, this would have been on the YouTube season, but I just still love the fact that on day one, there was a food reward attached to every challenge that Kubadang won. Right. And no food to the only one that Winu won. The poor buggers literally had nothing on day one.
Literally the most whinging in our season group chat was that exact point. The fact that we didn't get one single reward, and every one of those purple bastards thinks it's hilarious, and every single orange person feels ripped off.
Yeah, but Mel, you all went to Macca's anyway.
I didn't go to Macca's.
Sorry, Mel, third person. Myself, Mel, and Nick did not go to Macca's.
All I ate was fucking fish eyes, Annabel. Like, I deserve Macca's.
We took the survivor spirit.
Yeah.
James, what was your iconic moment?
Yeah, look, I think depending on your sense of humor and stuff, I mean, sometimes you gotta appreciate
the Geelong internet. Oh, feel like we're at the Brisbane podcast again, Mel.
So like Haley and Sam saying that, the old bloke, young girls, alliance, would have, it's certainly an interesting approach to phrase it, but I definitely think it brings a chuckle to the viewing experience, I think.
Zaddy Simon being a massive creep was iconic, and definitely worth a mention. All right, last question is the Max Johnson feel-good question, which was, Mel, did you have a good time? Was it special? Would you do it again?
Given that I hate fucking rain and I went to bed wet and I woke up wet and I was like drenched from head to toe, I still had a smile at the end of my face when I got voted out. So yes, in terms of max level enthusiasm, I would say yes, I had a great time and made a lot of great friendships from it. So yes, it was worth it.
Perfect max level of enthusiasm. No more, no less. What about you, Woofy?
Yeah, I as mentioned before, I sort of came into it just sort of wanting to, put a lot of enthusiasm and vigor into it within my competitive sort of spirit. And yeah, I think I could definitely go around again, and I want to go around again. Whether or not I get the chance to go around again, well, let's just say, it's not really my decision. But, it is what it is with whatever happens either way. But it would be very disappointing not to get another opportunity to play again.
Yeah,
I think I've offered a lot to play it again. I think I offer a lot to play it.
I think if you're feeling in a
agree.
good place about it all now, you were such a good character. Like, it would be a crime if we didn't get to see James 2.0.
Agreed.
I also agree.
All right. Mal, what about you?
Mate, I had one of the best weekends of my entire life. Like, I loved every single minute of it. And when Mel talks about the rain there, like, that was a super downpour that we had, and it just made it feel like we were getting that Survivor experience. Yeah, 100%. It was so cool. Like, absolutely great. And would I do it again? I would always consider any requests to have me play.
Oh, we love to hear it, team. All right. Well, thank you so much. You guys have been truly brilliant. You're all insane. I mean that as a compliment. And we had so much fun with you. CK, do you want to come and wrap it up?
Thank you, Annabel.
Thanks, Annabel.
Thank you. We love you.
I think, but that's fine. I'll put myself back in. Thank you to the Tea Party guest. What a fantastic show. Amazing characters from the season. And might I say, amazing members of our fantastic LRG Survivor community, all of which they contribute. Mel's basically crewed every single season after this thing, I expect. Malcolm, I know, has been heavily involved in crewing and putting together seasons. And James fabulously has run these Discord events where members of the community can get back together, and I can get myself voodoo idled out for a second time. So thank you, James, for that. I really appreciated that opportunity. Join us next week for the special interview with the 3 people that have played twice but have never been on the Orca pod. It's going to be very exciting because they all have different stories. We have Mitch, who went pre-merge and then made it all the way to 6th. We have Rose, who got swap screwed and voted out pre-merge, and then got swap screwed and voted out pre-merge. So, sometimes the same thing happens. And of course, we have Emily, who went from being the Tour de France level winner of Melbourne 2 because the other 2 are disqualified. So Emily is the winner. And then went to being the first boot of Canberra. A completely different experience for Emily. So it'd be great to get their perspectives on what it's like to play a second time, how they approached it, what they did right, what they did wrong, depending on their personal circumstances. And of course, after that, get your votes in. We reveal all the awards. I catch up with Dan and Liv, and we talk about everything that went into the season. We will ask the questions. There were questionable decisions made. I still don't understand how the ultimate sacrifice worked and the penalties. Unclear after 2 rewatches. Equally, why did they have an ultimate sacrifice after merge? That's a question, not answered. Why did Nick just get gifted immunity for the second tribal council? Like, was he just Dan's boy and he wanted to keep him rolling on? I don't know. These are questions that need to be asked, and I will be asking them. And Dan's always a good sport about filling us with his ideas about why he thought every advantage in the world would be a good idea. And did he think it was a good idea? To be honest, I think advantage Ken was good. So I'm down for it. Thank you for joining us. Thank you to, again, Mel, and James. Thank you so much to Annabel, who's now a very super important proper podcaster on a proper podcasting channel, for still coming here and humbling us with her presence and her quality of podcasting to be still part of our humble little podcast with it. We love you, Annabel, and thank you so much. I know that you are a busy lady and you like to go to bed early, so I appreciate both of these aspects and what you do for us. Thank you to everyone that watches live. It's always great to have your comments live in the chat, and to everyone who watches after the fact, thank you too. We love you, and we will see you next week. I'm the only one here, so I guess I'll just dance by myself. I could bring everyone back in for the dance. Hang on. I'll bring everyone back in. It's going to work. Hang on. There we go. All right. Now play the music. God.
What are we doing?